My name is Eric, and the question of the day is a 27-year-old man dating a man who's old enough to be his great great grandfather. Does that make the great great grandfather a pedophile? Welcome to the craziness that lives inside my head. Now, you may be asking yourself, what the hell is Eric talking about? Well, I'm on one of the sex sites. I was going to say dating site, but usually sex sites. Everybody wants sex dates. That's all they do. And I've been conversating with this 27-year-old who made it perfectly clear of all the things he wants to do to me. And I'm not really taking it serious. But then when he kept getting serious, when he started getting to meeting up, getting along, friendship, and even relationship, and I'm like, what? What, 27-year-old? So I said to the kid, I said, I'm old enough to be your great great grandfather. What the hell you see in me? And the kid said, I like older men. Well, when I was his age, I like older men too, but I had my limits. I remember I was 18, 19. I fooled around with a guy who was in his 30s. When I was in my 20s, I fooled around with a guy who was in early 40s. And basically, that was my limit. Like, I fooled around with someone who's 10 years older than me. Maybe 20, but basically 10 definitely. And if a guy is in his 60s, if I'm 20 and the guy is in his 60, it was no way. I mean, I had a limit. It was no way. I just felt, oh, he's too old. I don't want to beat him out on nobody. 60. What a 60-year-old man could do for me. Well, to be honest, to tell you a story, I was 21 at the Mount Morris Bath in Harlem, and I wasn't getting any action, but I was being followed and nagged with the 67-year-old man kept nagging me and hey, come on, baby, baby, hey, baby, hey, baby, this and baby that. He just, and I was very polite. I kept walking away, and he kept following me in the sauna. He followed me, and they had a little pool table. Followed me over there. I said, oh, what the hell? And I wasn't getting any action. So what the hell? I brought him to my room. In the bathhouse, you could rent these, I say room, but these cubicles. And all these cubicles with a door on it and a bed. That's all they were. And they charge you $5, $10 for the night. So I took him in there. Find out he was 67, that made it even worse. And I said, oh, what the hell? Why not? I'm not getting any action from anybody else. So this 67-year-old man rocked my world. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I was making so much noise in there. They were knocking on my door saying, they thought the guy was killing me in there. Is he all right? Is he all right? I mean, I was just shocked. And after that experience, I had no limits. So I was 2021 and he was 67. So I had no limits after that experience. So you can't judge a book by its cover. So now this 27-year-old kid is on my tail, literally. And I guess I'm feeling like, well, I'm too old. That's how I feel. I'm like, I'm too old. And then there's a little apprehension. Can I handle a 27-year-old kid? What would a 27-year-old kid, what fun would he get, having sex with me? But then again, I have to admit, when I was his age, I did not find guys my age and younger interesting. Now I do because I'm 72, but it's interesting, I'm 72, and now I find 50s and guys in their 40s very attracted to me. Anybody in their 30s and 20s is a little bit too young, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, sometimes I feel if I fool around with someone 20 years my junior, I must be a pedophile. You know, I mean, let's face it. I mean, they weren't even born when I was in my 20s. You understand what I'm getting at? So anyway, I was told by a friend who said to me, "Don't be stupid. You're two grown men." He's not a kid. He's a grown man, 27 years old. He knows exactly what he's doing. He can think for himself, and he's legal. I remember there was a term back then when you mess with a kid. They always say, "Is he legal?" The older man, I remember. I had one guy. His name was CJ. I met him in '73. He asked me that question. I was in a bar. See, I was always big for my age, and I could go to bars. You had to be 21 to go into a bar back then. And I was 16 years old. I looked 21. In fact, a lot of guys my age looked in their 20s. So we used to hang out at the bars. The bartenders didn't know. Even if they did, back then they didn't really, they didn't ask for ID. Now, if you go to a fancy bar, they're going to ask you for ID. And so I met this guy. He asked me that question. He didn't believe it, by the way. And I literally had to show him my driver's license. He really didn't believe me. Of course, I showed him my driver's license when I was 21. That was it. Next thing I know, he rented a hotel and he rocked my world. But anyway, so that's not a dilemma. I'm putting too much, making it harder than what it really is. I mean, someone said, if you like it, go ahead. I mean, it's nothing. But I always have this thing. I always tell people, especially when a young kid, I said, if he ain't got a car, ain't got a job, and living at home, I don't think I'm. No, in fact, it doesn't have to. Age doesn't matter. He could be old, same thing. Well, this kid is not the point. He does have a job, does have a car, and he had his own place. So, what's holding me back? I don't know. I guess I'm old fashioned. And I guess it's the apprehension of not being able to satisfy. Now, since I'm older, I'm thinking that, well, I don't want to fool around with somebody if I'm really not able to satisfy them at my age. I keep bringing in my age. Someone said, age is just a number. Just go and do it. Well, anyway, you've just heard me carrying on about my thinking of being a pedophile, fooling with someone who's 40 years my junior. Thank you for listening to the craziness that lives inside my head.